Hey y'all, it's Dr. Jen in the house. So, our black women are dying at higher rates than many other racial groups, and it's gotta stop. I want us to talk today about racial and ethnic health disparities in maternal health. So in the United States, we are leading in the worst of ways in the maternal mortality rates. When we compare ourselves to other developed nations, the United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, wherever you look at, we are leading in the worst of ways. But for our African American women, it's even worse. For Caucasian women, 9% of pregnancy-related deaths are preventable, which means that there was something that could have been done on the healthcare provider's side to prevent this death. For our black women, 59% are preventable. That is awful. And when we think about it, it's not the poor, it's not the destitute, it's not those that have awful health that are being affected by this. Think about Beyonce. She had preeclampsia with her twins. Think about Serena Williams. She had pulmonary emboli while pregnant. And the healthcare system did not listen to her even though she knew something was wrong with her body. This has got to stop. It's got to stop. And why does it have to stop? Well, every life matters. Black lives matter. And if we think about it, maternal mortality rates, well, that is a marker to state how healthy a nation is. And our maternal mortality rates are awful. So that tells us what our healthcare system is like. And if we don't care about that, if we don't care about their actual lives, let's think about this financially. So in the year 2050, it's estimated that the minority population will actually become the majority population. And right now, $1.24 trillion is being wasted because of health disparities. And if we address them appropriately, $229 billion will be saved. So whichever way you look at this, if you are thinking about the individual's life, that's great. You have a heart, which is really where the need for change should come from. It's the fact that we care about lives. But if not, let's think about this financially. It also doesn't make sense. This has got to be addressed. So what exactly are health disparities? Well, there are population differences in a disease state, the health outcomes, or even access to care. And we see that in our communities, that there are racial and ethnic health disparities that exist. And when we think about it, might be due to the fact that African Americans make less money on average compared to their Caucasian counterparts? Or is it maybe the fact that at baseline, African Americans have poorer health status compared to their Caucasian counterparts? Maybe it's the fact that people believe that the genes of African American are different than their Caucasian counterparts, but the entire human genome has been decoded, and we know that there are more differences within a racial group than between racial groups. In other words, 2 Caucasian women have more differences in their genes compared to a Caucasian woman and a black woman. So that debunks that. But yes, African Americans do have worse health outcomes at baseline, and they do make less money at baseline. But even when we control for those things, when we control for education, income, health status at baseline, even when we control for all those differences, African Americans still have worse pregnancy outcomes compared to their Caucasian counterparts. A Caucasian woman who only has a high school degree has better health outcomes than a PhD level African American graduate. That is unbelievable, but it's very true. And why do we see these differences? It's because of institutionalized racism. And what exactly is that? Institutionalized racism is a form of racism that is embedded within a society that seems like normal practice. So where there are differences in the treatment of individuals of different races, this occurs in the criminal justice system, in the healthcare field, within the education system, whatever we look at, within the financial market, wherever we look at this, we see that there are differences in the way people of different races are treated. And institutionalized racism puts wear and tear on the body. A amazing scientist who is currently at my alma mater, Go Blue, University of Michigan, Dr. Arlene Geronimos, she studied this concept called weathering. And that's where you see that you have physical wear and tear on your body because of an emotional, a traumatic insult to the body. And as we know, institutionalized racism does affect your health. So these women are being bombarded with the stress of life. African American women kind of have a triple whammy. So they have the intersectionality of being black, which we know that at baseline affects you because of the institutionalized racism that exists. Being a female, and we know that there are differences in the way males and females are treated. And then being pregnant. We know that pregnant women are more vulnerable to things such as even domestic violence. So that's the triple whammy: being pregnant, being black, and being a female. And in addition to institutionalized racism, you also have implicit bias from the providers. So implicit bias is where there are attitudes or stereotypes that are formed in an unconscious manner that affect the decisions and the actions that we make. So it's been studied that healthcare providers think that African Americans need less pain medication because they somehow feel less pain because they're different from any other human, that they care less about their health, that they're less intelligent. There are so many things that exist that healthcare providers falsely believe. All of these things cause the health disparities, and this has got to change. And there's many ways that this change can come about. My black mamas, you guys need to know your health and understand your body. Understand what feels normal, and when something doesn't feel normal, speak up. And if you don't get heard, go to someone else who's going to listen to you. Also, you need to know about your health. What is this diagnosis that they've given you? What are the medications that you're taking? You need to know these things. It's your body. No one's going to care about your body more than you should. So I need for you to understand your health. And when you don't understand it, ask the questions. And don't just allow for things to blow over because they didn't explain it well. And well, okay, that's fine. And you just move on. For my healthcare providers, you need to do training on implicit bias. You need to get cultural competency. It's important that you are able to understand and relate to your patients. That is the whole point of you becoming a doctor, to bring about benefit and good health care to all of your patients, including the black ones. For my institutions, you need to increase the entry of minorities into positions in the healthcare field. Increase the number of minorities that are getting admitted into medical schools, because it's already been shown that African Americans feel more comfortable and will open up more to providers who understand them and look like them. This is going to help us address health disparities. For my resident physicians that are in residencies right now, you need to care. If you don't know the statistics of health disparities that exist in your institutions, get that data. Find out what is one of the leading disparities in your institution and help create quality improvement projects to address this. Me and one of my colleagues are working on such things right now because they don't exist. Yes, this is adding more work to what I'm doing, but it's worth it because my black mamas matter. So everyone, let us work together to bring about change. It is so necessary. I hope this was helpful. Thanks.